Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Gary here at Vinyl Kick, and today's the third video in the Clash series. First video we covered the studio albums, there were some different versions of them. Second video we done some 7-inch singles with some imports and some picture discs and some various other things. So for this, the third video and probably the final Clash video we'll do, and this one we'll cover imports and bootlegs, and even bootleg imports as well, so you can combine the two of them at once there. So I'll start off then with some 7-inch singles, and I'll start with actually my favourite 7-inch import, and it's the 7-inch London Calling Japanese on the Epic label, and it comes with just a little slide out sleeve and the typical Japanese sleeve inside it, and then there's this little pull out here with the lyrics for London Calling and Armageddon Time in the back, plus I look at their albums as well that they were selling in Japan. I bought this some time ago, and I was really glad I got it because the Japanese stuff is still incredibly collectible. And it's really good to pick it up, and as in the Japan, a lot of stuff in Japan, a lot of the official releases in Japan, it's on the Epic label. So I got that's probably my favourite. I love that. That is one of my favourite all-time album covers for any band. So I thought I would show that one first, and that's a London Calling 7-inch Japanese import. Second one, next 7-inch, is this. It's Tribal Stomp. Now, this is a bootleg on the Good Times Music label. And this, there it's there. And this is a live recording from the Monterey Festival. I think actually the festival was actually called the Tribal Stomp Festival in Monterey in the USA, California. And I believe this is the encore. Once our set was finished, they come back on and they done Gary's Land, Armageddon Time, Career Opportunities, Fingernails, and White Riot, as far as I'm led to believe. So this was one of these ones. It's in a lovely blue vinyl. It plays at 33. Good Times Music, whoever they are. I don't know where they're based, if they're American or a British company or whatever. But certainly, it's an interesting little EP, a little 33 EP. I think it was put out in 3 different coloured vinyls. I think it's out in blue, and I think it was out in red and black. I don't know the rarity of them, if anyone's, most as scarce as the red, more scarce than the blue. Is the blue more scarce? I don't know. I just know it's out in those 3 colours. But it's something that was quite interesting, I think, when it was something like that. And actually, it's not a bad recording for a live recording to vinyl at all. Some of these things can be a little bit iffy, but this one's actually. I've got more of these, like this type of thing, but I thought I would show this one because this one actually is decent. It's really quite good, and it's quite readily available. So if anyone's into the Clash and you see it for, I don't know how much it'll be, but it's certainly not expensive, then I would advise you to pick it up. I would recommend it. So that's the second one. It's the Clash Tribal Stomp, the Encore EP. The third and final 7-inch I'd like to show is the Italian version of the Clash White Riot, which they done with a Complete Control picture sleeve. For some reason, I don't know why they done that, but again, like a lot of the European, the sleeves are sort of thicker cardboard. A thicker sort of paper or cardboard. Not say cardboard, I don't think. I think a paper's been used than maybe the normal UK sleeves. So that's the White Riot. This is the Italian pressing, and again, it's on the CBS Sunburst, but it's got obviously the centre's missing. It doesn't have the filled centre, and it's got the import. If you can see it there, the import stamp on it as well. So it does. I haven't seen much in the way of Italian. Quite a lot of Spanish stuff comes up, imports, and obviously Japanese, but I haven't seen much in Italian imports in the Clash. And so when that was a good number of years ago, I bought that one, actually. So another one, good one to have for the collection. Of course, it's the first single. It's one of my favourite singles as well. So we'll get into the albums, and we'll start with this, The Sound of the Sinners. Now, this, I album here as a Japanese bootleg. And this was recorded at the Glen Helen Regional Park. I think it was in San Diego in California in 1983. And I think this is advertised as Mick Jones's last ever show with the Clash. It could well have been, because he did leave in 83, or he was sacked, or whatever you want to call it. And this is the one, Pete Howard, on this album, on this tour. When they played in this tour of America, Topper was gone, he was in rehab, and it was Pete Howard that had joined them then. But they really were in the last legs of Clash when they done this. And if you read any of Penny Smith's stuff, she followed them in this tour and the tour before it, where they toured Japan and Thailand and various other places in the Far East. She said they really were, how they were still together, she couldn't quite believe, because they really were at each other's throats all the time. So this is a Japanese bootleg of this tour. It's a live recording. It's a white label. It's a lovely pink vinyl and a little bit of yellow through it. It plays okay. It's got a lot of stuff from Sandinista on it. First side's a mix. It starts with Safe European Home, Police on My Back, Brand New Cadillac, I Fought the Law, I'm So Bored the USA, Training in Vain, and then the second side's got a lot of Sandinista on it, along with Know Your Rights and Guns of Brixton. But it finishes with a cracking version of Somebody's Get Murdered, which is probably the best track on it. But probably 10 for the tape, straight for the sound desk, I would say. So it's an okay recording. It plays, it's okay. There is an element of background noise, but it's again, being a Japanese recording for Rising Sun Records, Yokohama, who put out various bands. They put out bootleg albums live bootleg albums from various bands, and they're usually of a really decent standard. So as far as it goes, probably taking straight for the sound desk, it is decent. But it's not the best bootleg album I've heard, but it's good, it's decent, it is decent, and it's well worth a listen to if ever you get the chance to listen to it. I thought it was the poster he got with us. Yeah, so and it's basically just a poster, but it's just basically the lyrics. It's like a lyric. Hey, spit it out. Tripping over my tongue there. A lyric sheet, just with the tracks and the lyrics of the tracks. I forgot that was in there actually, so I did. But yeah, it's another good one. Sound of the Sinners, 1983, advertises Mick Jones's last show. Whether it was the actual last show, or whether it was certainly his final tour, that's for sure. But whether it was his last show, I don't know. Now this one's a strange one. So this is a bootleg of Pearl Harbor. And I never ever got this, because the original Pearl Harbor, this is also a Japanese release, but the original Pearl Harbor was basically the Japanese release of the Clash's first album, but the American version of the first album, and it came with the same free 7-inch, or the bonus 7-inch single. This is basically just a live recording at the Palladium in New York in '79, but it was produced by it tries to tell the label it's produced by Epic in Japan, but it's not. It's certainly not. Whatever record label this is, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. It tells you nothing in the labels other than the name of the album, what side it is, and to play it at 33. So I don't know who's done this bootleg. I haven't got a clue who's responsible for producing this. There is nothing in the sleeve. It does try to tell you down there that it's Epic right at the bottom, if you can see it. But that's bollocks. It's certainly not Epic that put it out. I'm not sure. I'm sure all this Discog says it's a bootleg release from these live shows, and it's a combination. It says September 21st, 1979 on the front of it, but I think it's a combination over a few. I think they played a couple of nights, so I think it's maybe split between the 2 nights, and it's got most of the tracks they played. It's got 23 tracks on it, so it's got most of the tracks, if not all of the tracks, over the 4 sides that they played that night or on these nights. I actually got this. I bought this thinking it was the original one, and again it was no due diligence here. I should have checked, because the cover, excuse me, although it's similar, it's different because it doesn't have you know, there's the original or the proper one, the Japanese one's got a bit of writing down here as well, and it's got the white square up here telling you what it is rather than this bit. So there is, it's kind of similar, the front cover. It's been, you know, it's been made to look very similar, but if you had a look at the original Japanese press, and you'd say, yeah, okay, but there is obvious differences. But I get caught out. It was just one of these impulse purchases. Maybe I had been doing one of my record and beer days and got it round wrong. I can't remember, it was ages ago I bought it, and maybe I get the record and beer thing wrong, round the wrong way, and I had too much of the beer, and thought this was the real deal. This was a second hand copy I bought as well. It was in a second hand bin somewhere. I can't even remember the shop it was in, but anyway. It's still decent enough, and I'll tell you, it plays well enough. Actually, it's actually a really good copy. The vinyl's good and clean, and it does play well. It's a good sound off it. There's not really any background noise or what. It is decent for a bootleg album. So yeah, you can get caught out with that. I certainly did, and for somebody that's a massive Clash fan to get caught out, well, there you go. What can you say? So that's the bootleg of Pearl Harbor, which is a live recording of the gigs they played in New York, not the original Japanese Pearl Harbor, which is basically their first album, or their first studio album that the Clash did. Now, this is probably my second favourite. I'll keep my favourite bootleg live album to them, but this is probably my... It was very close, but be one or two, number one, number two, with my imported bootleg albums, and this is... I'm not sure if this actually... This has... I was going to say... I wasn't sure if this was yeah, right, okay. So, this was the Clash, the Take Tokyo for 1982. In January 1982, and it was recorded over a couple of nights. Why I paused there, I was looking to see whether it was what label it was on, because there were in Japan, there were a couple of live albums that were put out in different labels, but they had the blessing of members of the band. They were put out in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, and they had the blessing of the band. And because we recorded live, or whatever venue, the venue had the rights to the song, there might have been radio stations involved or something, I'm not sure. But this one isn't, it's not. This isn't the Legend Records, which is another Tokyo record label, and again they specialise in stuff like this. And this, for a bootleg copy of a live show, is absolutely fantastic. It's a great recording, and this is the one. If you've ever seen, like, this is a tour they were on where the pictures of the Combat Rock album were taken in Thailand, or Vietnam, Thailand. I can't remember where it was. The pictures Penny Smith took, and this is. If you've read anything with Penny Smith, any article she's done about the Clash, if she's been in any of the Clash books, and she's sort of, you know, she's contributed to them, she'll tell you that she knew on that tour when she was with them that they were done. That was it. They were very professional on stage, and they always put on a great show, but after it they just didn't get in each other's ways. There was a massive rift in the band. I don't think any of them were really talking to each other, which is a shame really, but that's the way it goes in bands. But this was recorded. So this is on the Legend label from Tokyo, Japan, and this was live in Tokyo in 1982. It's a double album with a full sleeve. It has a proper obi on it. Double album, opens out. It's quite impressive. What a good live shots here. I'm sure these are actually taken from Penny Smith's photograph collection, and a cover on the back. Now, this was released in red, and it was released in white, and it was released in blue, 100 of each, and that was all. So this is number 91 of 100 on the red coloured vinyl. And out of all these albums, this was, well, it was incredible. This was quite hard to get a hold of, actually. Plain white labels, nothing on them at all, and a bright red vinyl. And as I said, it's a really good copy. It plays really well, and it's really good to listen to. It is a high quality copy, Japanese pressing. It took me a few years to manage to get a copy of this, Take Tokyo, and I eventually managed to source one. I was really glad that I did. It was one I had been looking out for. Some of the other bootlegs, like Sound of the Sinners, these, you can still get these are still available. especially that one, Sound of the Sinners, and the Jamaican bootleg. It's on various auction sites. It pops up back and forward. But this one's a wee bit different. I always felt. No, I know. I always feel. Actually, no. God, I'm off the ball today, man. There's something wrong with me. I don't know what's going on. It must be all this lovely weather we're having, knocking me for six. But this one, yeah, it'd take me a bit longer to get a hold of this one. This was one of the last additions to my collection, and I'm mightily glad that I've eventually managed to get a hold of it. You know, and it's one that I'll always cherish. I absolutely love it. So that's the Clash Take Tokyo. Again, most of these are on Discogs, and they do have information on them in Discogs. They do have details, so you can check them out there. But yeah, Take Tokyo, my second favourite bootleg. Official bootleg import album. Oh dear. Next one's a strange one, and this one probably for Clash fans could be familiar. So it is, and that's the Clash Other Night at Bonds, June 1981 in New York. Now this album comes with, it's got a flyer in it from the concert as well, which is the poster just advertising the Clash while playing. I think they put on extra nights here because in 81 when they played New York, because they were so popular, they were massive at that time in America. They really had cracked America. They decided to put on a few more nights, and this is just recorded. This is just a bootleg album from that tour. But the thing I love about this album is the centres as well. It's the Clash will play then. It's the other centres. The same as the front cover. This album plays really well too. I must admit, and it's the strangest sleeve. It's sort of it's like a single gatefold sleeve, but just playing on the inside. Cracking cover at the front. Just the three on there because I kind of think Topper was good and gone. I don't think Topper was available. I don't know who drum former maybe did in 81. I can't remember. But he's certainly not in any pictures. He's not in the back cover for either at all. And there's the track listings there as well, as you can see up there. And it's various broadcasts of the opening days through early June 1981. And again, there's a good mix of songs. I've just obviously cherry picked what they wanted to put on it. And this, as for the record label with this, I have no idea who put this out. I've got no idea whatsoever who put this album out. There's nothing in the label. There's nothing. All it says in Discogs is a bootleg of a live recording. But again, it's a decent one. It's not as good as the Japanese. It's not as good. It's maybe on par with the first one I showed you, The Sound of the Sinners. It's potentially on par with that as far as quality goes. But it's a good album none the same. And you get a little poster with it as well. So yeah, it's another good addition. This is one of the first bootlegs I got, because I actually wasn't going to start bothering buying bootlegs, and then once you start buying one, well, that's a snowball effect, isn't it? You can, once you start, you can't stop. Final one's my favourite, and it's the very first one I ever bought, and I bought this in 1983, and this is the White Riot Tour, the Clash of White Riot Tour, and this was at Sun Plaza Hall in Tokyo in February 82. So this is the very, very, very first one I bought, and it's in the Stemra label, and just plain white labels, Japanese labels. Stemra, they didn't do much Stemra, but they did. Again, they were one of the Japanese labels they done when they actually were, but they were licensed in Germany, I think, as well. So I think they recorded it, all everything that they recorded in Japan, however they recorded live, they sent to Germany for it to be pressed, as far as they were led to believe. So I think that one was actually pressed in Germany. What was recorded in Japan, I'm sure that they were sent to Germany to be pressed, and it's actually, I think in Discogs it's a German import, but I'm not 100% sure of that concert in Japan. But I remember buying this, and it was one of the times where you got in Sounds magazine, you'd be a list, and they'd be wearing collectible records in Sounds, and then you sent away for the brochure, and it was a guy in Manchester And I remember buying this and some Clash Spanish imports as well off them. But this is absolute. I love the cover, the front cover. I've always loved this cover, and it's an absolute. This is a great album. It's again the recording for me. I think because of the tracks that are on it. It starts in side A, starts with London Calling, Safe European Home, goes into Training Vain, White Man, and Janie finishes with Jenny Jones in side A, and the B says it Clamp Down, Radio Clash, Class City Rockers, London Burning, and finishes with White Riot. And it's, there's a wee bit of talking between it, but it kind of goes from track to track. It's like a wee bit like the Ramones album. It doesn't stop too much. There's no many breaks in it, and it doesn't because of that. It doesn't last that long on either side. But it's an absolute brilliant album, and that's my favourite. This is my first and my favourite Clash bootleg. So whether it's classed as Japanese import or a German import, who knows? I don't really mind because it's a really, really good album. So there we go. So that's the Clash done. 3 videos. We've done the albums, we've done the singles, and we've done the bootlegs and the imports. I was a bit tongue-tied today. Don't know what's going on. I think I've got sunstroke. Not used to this lovely weather here, the west coast of Scotland, must admit. Usually in June and July it's pissing the rain. Maybe a wee bit of sleet through it. But anyway, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Number 3 in the Clash sessions. Clash Part 3. Bootlegs and imports. So next time we'll do something totally different. In fact, I'm going to a record fair in a week on Saturday. What day is this? Well, it's a week on Saturday. I'm going 17th of June. I'm going to a record fair. First record fair I've been to in donkey's years, man. So I shall do a video with what I've purchased at. I'm sure I will buy some records. So I'll do a video regarding the record fair that I'm heading up to with my record buddy Alan. So that'll be my next video in a few weeks' time. So remember, vinyl community, boys and girls, stay free.